Tonight on Cronkite News, the new bill targeting drones along the U.S. border. Find out what's behind the legislation.
Plus, why future negotiations between the U.S. and Russia regarding the Ukraine war have European nations concerned.
And baseball is heating up here in the Valley with the Sun Devils leading the charge on the diamond. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Leah Phillips.
And I'm Matt Ross. Thank you for joining us.
We begin tonight with a meeting between law enforcement officials and the Arizona Attorney General.
They came together to discuss a bill that has agreement on both sides of the aisle. As Nicole Macias Garribe reports, the bill would provide immunity to the police officers when intercepting drones along the border.
One of the main reasons for the bill is to help local law enforcement to combat the large amount of illegal drugs coming through the border. According to the Arizona Department of Public Safety, in the last 3 months of 2024, they seized close to 6,500 pounds of illicit drugs. Law enforcement says fences and border patrol checkpoints along the desert are not enough to stop drug cartels bring narcotics into the United States when they're using drones.
But when given the right tools, like with HB 2733, law enforcement will be able to capture these drugs before they cause any irreparable damage to our communities.
House Bill 2733 would provide immunity to law enforcement when intercepting drones engaged in suspected drug smuggling within 30 miles of Arizona's border. Local law enforcement in support of the bill say it gives them a needed tool to fight illegal activity.
And this bill offers us that opportunity to make sure that we can address drones that are in the hands of the wrong people that may be a threat to our community and to our state and even to our nation.
Some at the press conference questioned the safety for civilians if these drones are destroyed in populated areas. But according to Attorney General Chris Mays, most narcotics are dropped off in remote areas of the desert, usually at night.
These questions about, liability and, where drones can be disabled, they're important questions, but you know what's more important? Saving American lives.
Attorney General Mays also emphasized that the Border Patrol is already shooting down drones. This law would give local law enforcement the same ability.
Thanks, Nicole. Representatives from the Trump administration and Russia are meeting tomorrow to talk about how to end the war in Ukraine. But the president of the Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, says he will not be participating. European leaders held an emergency meeting today to discuss Ukraine amid growing concern that the Trump administration's work with Russia is leaving them isolated. Yesterday, Trump told reporters that he was working to stop the fighting.
We're working to get it done. I mean, it's too bad it started. It would have been a lot easier to end it before it started, right?
And the U.S. Army announced it will no longer allow transgender people to join its ranks. The announcement was made through several social media posts on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. The military says transgender people will no longer be able to enlist, and all current and future gender-affirming procedures will be paused.
President Trump has also introduced several policies affecting the transgender community. Cronkite News reporter Zaya Soto joins us from the newsroom with more.
In less than 30 days in office, President Trump has taken actions impacting the transgender community. Tonight, we take a closer look how the LGBTQIA+ groups are responding to the changes. In a small house in Phoenix, dozens gathered to discuss the executive orders placed by President Trump concerning transgender and migrant communities. Transqueer Pueblo put together an informational meeting to educate the community on how to navigate these new policies. Policies enacted by President Trump that impact transgender people include defining people as only men and women, removing X-gender marks from passports, transgender women to be moved to men's prisons, defunding gender-affirming treatment to transgender youth. Aaron Castillo, health justice coordinator for the organization, shared how the nonprofit's clinic has prepared themselves from the beginning in 2015 by being independently funded.
Our solution as a migrant community of color, we know that we have never have been sitting waiting for the government to take care of ourselves. We know that we have always exist, and we know for sure the message is that we're here, we exist every day, and not by just taking away care doesn't mean that we're not existing.
Transqueer Pueblo does not provide gender-affirming treatment to youth under 19, but other health organizations like Phoenix Children's Hospital have decided to end gender-affirming treatment to stay compliant with federal laws. In a letter to parents, PCH said that they're indefinitely pausing gender-affirming medical care, specifically puberty blocking and gender-affirming hormonal therapy. In that same letter, the Children's Hospital went on to say that they would continue to provide mental health therapy and outpatient rehabilitation services at their gender clinic. Transqueer Pueblo continues to remain resilient during the changes affecting their community and reminds people that the transgender community will always exist no matter the obstacles.
Taking away trans healthcare is not going to take away our existence. We exist, we're here. And also I want people to know that there's trans folks that don't even care hormone treatment. Someone can be trans without even having any changes in their body. It's just about existing and about the world knowing that we are here.
A judge has temporarily blocked President Trump's administration from enforcing the shutdown of federal funds for gender-affirming treatment. In the newsroom, Isaiah Soto, Cronkite News.
And coming up next, a look at news headlines from across the globe and the nation.
Including the pink slips handed out to hundreds of the FAA employees over the weekend.
And the growing legal fight over who is to blame for the massive wildfires in Southern California. We'll have a report from Los Angeles when we return.
It looks like sunnier days are approaching after this weekend's rainstorms. I'm Mahir Hassan, and your 8-day forecast is coming up after this break.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
Welcome back. The Trump administration has been laying off hundreds of Federal Aviation Administration employees.
That's right. This comes after a fatal crash in Washington, D.C. just a few weeks ago. Workers began getting firing notices on Friday, and the union, which represents more than 11,000 FAA workers, released a statement which said they were troubled and disappointed by the administration's decision to fire employees. They also stated this, quote, hastily made decision did not consider the staffing needs of the FAA, which they said had already been challenged by understaffing.
People in parts of southern United States are cleaning up today after heavy rainfall over the weekend. Flood warnings were issued in parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and North Carolina. At least 11 people died from the flooding in Kentucky, and tens of thousands were left without power throughout the South. Emergency national crews in Kentucky conducted more than 1,000 rescues in less than 24 hours, and emergency responders continue search and rescue operations. The storm systems have moved out, but officials say the flood threat is still lingering.
And residents impacted by the Eaton fire in Altadena, California, which scorched more than 14,000 acres, killing at least 12, are still reeling. And as Spencer West reports, residents want to find out who is responsible. They're taking to the courts for help.
For so many victims of the fire, their only focus was to escape. Although authorities have not reported the fire's source, one Altadena resident, Jeffrey Koo, was able to capture cell phone footage of a flaming transmission tower owned and maintained by Southern California Edison.
I saw the hill on fire, or at least the base of the tower on fire. Instinctively pulled out my phone, started recording, and then the rest is kind of history.
This is the hillside coup referred to, with the transmission tower on top. This footage from coup shows the fire on the hill, allegedly right under the tower.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God.
That tower is owned by Southern California Edison, the largest energy provider in Southern California. After the footage was released and eyewitnesses came forward, California law firms began looking to represent any victim of the fire in a lawsuit against Southern California Edison. Mike Danko of Danko Meredith, a law firm representing Eaton Fire victims, explained why.
If, as we think here, they did something wrong, for example, they failed to shut off the power when their own meteorologist said the winds were going to be too high for their equipment to handle. If they did something wrong, then they're responsible to the homeowners or those who lost property for much more.
Southern California Edison declined to comment on the lawsuits. Though the legal process could take years, Altadena locals are hopeful that the many lawsuits against Southern California Edison will bring enough relief to rebuild. In Los Angeles, Spencer West, Cronkite News.
Southern California Edison is also being sued for possible tampering with evidence, although the company claims the accusations are false.
Back in the Valley, couples had cloudy skies to cuddle up to and celebrate Valentine's Day weekend.
That's right. However, it looks like Phoenix's cooler temperatures will be short-lived. Mihir Sinhasan joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect.
Thanks, Leah, and happy Monday, everybody. We're going to get straight into the temperatures today. As you guys talked about earlier, cloudy skies, but as you can see here, when you get to around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock today, it's going to be nice and clear as temperatures go down into the 60s. Speaking of temperatures, here are your lows tonight. Window Rock 17, Holbrook 22, Prescott a little bit chilly at 30, but beyond that, Lake Havasu 55 and Bullhead 53. Taking a look at your high temperatures into Tuesday. Flagstaff 52, and in general, all of high country relatively cool. And once you get down into the southwest region, how about Yuma over here? 80 degrees, Gila Bend 77. Back here in the valley, it will be 77 as well. This is your futurecast as of right now. A little bit of cloud coverage in the northern region. That will file out towards the southeast. This is what it looks like around rush hour tomorrow. A little bit of cloud coverage here on the eastern side, but that will file out once again in towards the southeast region. And this is what it looks like on Wednesday morning. As we take a look at your 8-day forecast here in the valley, as you can see, pretty good temperatures overall heading up towards Thursday, where it will be 81 degrees. After that, though, you want to take a look at this. Friday to Monday, it's going to be sunny. Tuesday, mostly sunny as well. And as you can see on the right side of your screen, 88 on Monday and Tuesday. Not exactly record highs, but still very, very hot. You have to remember it is still February. And oh, by the way, winds are going to be great too, getting up to around 5 miles per hour. This is Mihir Sinhasan from the Cronkite News Weather Center. Back to you.
And coming up next, we're going to take a look at two talented twins who are some stars in the making.
That's right. They both play basketball, and they're both incredibly good at it. The Sandra Day O'Connor seniors helped their team get to the championship and will be taking their talents to the same place.
I grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Good evening and welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Cepeda. So let's take a look at tonight's top sports stories. Spring Training 2025 officially kicks off on Friday here in the Valley, with half of Major League Baseball taking advantage of the great Arizona spring weather over the next 5 weeks to prepare for the upcoming season. So let's take a look at the Diamondbacks schedule to see how they will open Cactus League play. The first 2 games for the hometown D-backs will start on Friday and Saturday when they take on the Colorado Rockies at 1:10 p.m. on both days at their shared spring training complex in Scottsdale. And on Sunday afternoon, the Snakes will head to Peoria to take on the Seattle Mariners. Now, spring training isn't the only thing heating up in the Valley, as in the collegiate landscape, the Arizona State Sun Devils on the Diamond began their season over the weekend with a 3-game sweep over Ohio State in exciting fashion. The defense shined for the Sun Devils, finishing off the Buckeyes with a double play in a tight Game 1, and redshirt sophomore slugger Brandon Compton helped lead the Sun Devils to sweep the Buckeyes with 5 hits and 7 RBIs in the series, including a walk-off double in Game 2 on Saturday night. Junior outfielder Isaiah Jackson had a diving grab in center in Game 3, and ASU's head coach Willie Bloomquist was pleased with how his team played on opening weekend.
This is college baseball, man. There's no easy games. You are going to be in a dogfight every night, and to battle. You're gonna get punched in the mouth a time or two, and you're going to have to respond to it. So that's what we try to preach to these guys. That it's not always going to be pretty, but you go out and battle and fight tooth and nail, and the results will happen.
Now, the Sun Devils were outscored by the Buckeyes 33-27 in front of a record crowd of over 10,000 fans showing their support over the weekend at Phoenix Muni. And the Maroon and Gold played their 4th game of the season earlier this afternoon against the Austin Peay Governors. Meanwhile, in Tucson, the Wildcats started their 2025 baseball campaign with an 0-3 skid at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, the home of the Texas Rangers. Arizona's first game against Ole Miss was a back-and-forth pitcher's duel, highlighted by defensive plays from both teams. And in the 9th inning, the Wildcats had the bases loaded, but could not bring a runner home, losing 2-1. And on Saturday and Sunday, the Red and Blue were blown out by 15th-ranked Clemson and Louisville, returning to Tucson without an opening weekend win. And we head back to the Valley, where the Grand Canyon Lopes began their season on the diamond in the MLB Desert Invitational. The Lopes' first game was a tough matchup against the powerhouse Vanderbilt Commodores, and the Lopes got off to a slow start, allowing 4 runs in 4 innings before starting a comeback push. A home run by junior Zach York and pinch hit single by sophomore Carson Oland just wasn't enough as they fell 4-3. However, the Purple and White would go on to take down San Diego State 6-5 before losing to Austin Peay 8-5 to finish the weekend. And when it comes to baseball as a whole, Banana Ball is sweeping the nation as one of the sport's most entertaining experiences, as it is arguably the wildest and wackiest version of America's pastime. Cronkite News reporter DeWitt Gebremariam met one of the league's biggest stars from Tucson.
Banana Ball is kicking off their nationwide tour in 40 cities across 25 states. One of the league's biggest stars is Party Animals pitcher and Arizona native Jake Lealios. The Tucson native is known for his dance moves and entertaining singing. For Jake, he is living out his dream on the mound while helping to grow the game.
I hope to make a career out of Banana Ball as much as I can, just because I've seen how it impacts people.
Baseball has always been a part of Lealios' life. Growing up in Arizona, he started playing at the age of 4. His love for the sport blossomed over the years, leading him to play catcher at Sabino High School in Tucson. It was there that he found joy for another passion, acting.
And I really loved it right from the start with just basic beginning drama. I think it taught me a lot about surrounding myself with different types of people and learning from all of those experiences. And I definitely didn't think it was going to look like this, but you know, those were valuable experiences to me.
After high school, Jake spent 4 years playing collegiate baseball at Pomona College in Southern California. He continued his baseball journey playing in 2 independent pro baseball leagues before ultimately trying out for the Party Animals. As soon as he auditioned, it was apparent that he was the perfect fit for the job.
Funny dance moves, willing to do everything, great showman, great entertainer. When we seen him and that he was able to play baseball as well, we knew he was a no-doubter.
Now in his 3rd year with the team, Lialios has become a leader in the locker room. His impact goes further than just providing entertainment on the field. He has played a key role in helping to bring this team together.
We love each other, always joking and laughing, and then we go out to the field and ready to play ball.
Jake's vibrant personality, along with his strong leadership, already has made him a star. And as the sport continues to grow, so will his impact. In Phoenix, Dawi Geber-Mariam, Cronkite News.
Thanks so much, Dawit. And we take you from the baseball diamond to the basketball court in Tucson in the Battle of the Cats between the Arizona Wildcats and the Houston Cougars in a star-studded top 20 showdown. The red and blue got off to a strong start in front of a packed house at the McHale Center, leading 30-25 by the end of the first half. But the final 20 minutes was a tight neck-and-neck battle until the Cougars were able to take advantage of the Wildcats not making baskets in critical moments towards the end of the game, as Arizona would fall 62-58, leading their head coach, Tommy Lloyd, to believe that they could have done better offensively.
Well enough defensively to win the game. We rebounded well enough to win the game. You got to play better offense, and that's easier said than done against Houston, but we're capable of playing better offense than we did today.
Now, Arizona's ranking in today's AP poll fell from 13th to 19th after their loss to Houston, making their record 11-3 in the Big 12 Conference and 17-8 overall. Tonight, they're in Waco, Texas to take on the Baylor Bears with tip-off at 8 p.m. And finally tonight at Sandra Day O'Connor High School, twin brothers John and Michael Simcoe are a rare duo, making a name for themselves on the basketball court. And our Jacob Seaver spoke with the twin athletes who can truly do it all.
John and Michael Simcoe have been side by side their whole lives. Whether it be basketball, swimming, or math class, these two have excelled and are both committed to play basketball next year at UC Santa Barbara. But their talents don't stop in the pool or on the court.
A lot of people don't know Mike is an artist, elite artist, and John is an elite musician, a pianist.
Yes, you heard that right. When they're not dominating in sports, John is at the piano, while Michael spends hours bringing his artwork to life.
They really have worked hard to foster it themselves. They've worked really, really hard to get better at artistry, to get better at playing the piano, to get better at swim and basketball and school. I mean, that's pivotal for them, so they work really hard.
Michael, an intense competitor, says that art gives him a platform to express himself and relieve the stress that athletics can bring.
Drawing is a little bit different. It's more of an escape from all those things, and it's something I can do off to the side that kind of gets me away from all that stress and all the tiredness I get from sports and school.
John started his music journey in the 4th grade when he picked up the trombone and taught himself how to read music, eventually shifting to the piano by 6th grade. His dreams in the industry go beyond the keyboard.
I definitely want to get into more the movie aspect of it and film scoring for Hollywood. I really love the cinematic aspect of music and just the kind of the realm and the world that music can create for movies when you're watching a motion picture.
Make them who they are and develop where they belong and how they play the game or do their sport. And those various skills then will develop them, and then they'll be naturally talented where they are talented.
Both John and Michael say they are excited to start their journeys at UC Santa Barbara, and no matter where that leads them, they are sure to make an impact. In Phoenix, Jacob Seaver, Cronkite News.
And that's going to do it for us here on Sports Today. But Leah, Matt, truly an inspiring story. I mean, one of them wants to go make film scores in Hollywood. The other wants to do art, but they're both going to be playing D1 basketball in Santa Barbara for the Gauchos. Truly a very unique and inspiring story.
Yeah, I know. We're both definitely excited to see which way their careers actually unfold, because it could go either way.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right, and coming up next, a shocking moment for a kayaker in Chile.
That's straight out of a Disney movie. We'll have more coming up next. After the break, we'll have more about this terrifying encounter.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Welcome back. A scene straight out of Pinocchio went viral on social media.
It showed a kayaker being swallowed and then spit back out by a humpback whale.
That's right. This 24-year-old kayaker said he thought he was going to die. Luckily, humpback whales do have a narrow throat, which makes it physically impossible for them to swallow something as big as a kayak. That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Leah Phillips.
And I'm Matt Ross. Thank you guys for joining us.